Okay, this is an example of the logistic equation as used in our relationship example that had to do with the amount of time that you study and the grade that you would receive. So in the Cartesian plot, recall that in our example this was going to be the hours that you spend. I have this set up to go from 0 to 10 hours, and the bottom is a grade of 0 and the top is a grade of 100. So as you can see in my example right here, I can set these parameters. Remember I told you in the video that this first one, A, is going to allow you to say what the maximum grade could be, in this case 100. Right? So notice how the graph goes to the top of 100. And B tells you where you're going to start. So for example, let me make this 100 so I can go there. So if I want to start up higher, I can. So for example, if you don't study at all, you're going to get a 20%. Okay? So here's an example of I don't study at all, I get a 20%. I study for what? I study for about 5 hours, and I can get more or less 100%. Notice how in this model it works really well, because the more I study, then my grade doesn't really change. Of course, I could make a model that actually it goes down after a while if I overstudy, if you will. Okay? So also in the other videos I said you could control how the exam is. So is the exam a hard exam or an easy exam? This would be an example of a hard exam where the more you study, it just goes up incrementally, and see now you got to get to what? Near 10 hours before you even get a 94. Or if I affect this parameter, I can get an exam that seems a lot easier, where you can go from a 20% by not studying, but only 2 hours later you can get, 2 or 3 hours later you can get almost 100%. So it's possible to set the parameters of this model to fit whatever situation that you're thinking about in terms of your relationship, and you could choose a completely different model function, one that was a little bit different than this, if you thought that none of these situations apply to what you were trying to mimic. So this is the idea about whether your relationship is going to be properly communicated in an algebraic form or not, and this is an excellent tool to explore that and the idea of these parameters, because you see here x is actually playing the role of the variable, and a, b, and c are what are referred to as parameters, which you set. Okay, that's it.